Have you ever wondered why a task in a course needed to be a group project when it would have been much more efficient to do it by yourself? As course designers, we need to consider this question. How do we create the functional need for group work in project demos in an asynchronous course? Hi everyone, and welcome to In-House Remote Learning, a channel dedicated to presenting a way to design and implement an asynchronous communication learning environment. My name is Wilhelm Lindholm, and in this video, we will explore the role of complexity in task design and how that can create a functional need for collaboration in project demos. In this video, I define complexity as the extent to which interaction levels aggregate in the tasks that students need to perform in project demos, irrespective of the actual linguistic difficulty of the specific interactions. Rather than get stuck in abstract definitions, let me clarify the concept with a few examples. In a course teaching A1 level language, we could have a scenario about buying ice cream. In a simple or low complexity design, we could have two interactors, the vendor and the customer, and they could practice the phrases needed for greeting each other, ordering ice cream, paying for the order, etc. Staying on the same level of linguistic challenge, A1, but increasing the complexity, we could have four interactors, the vendor and three customers, for example. Instead of just ordering the ice cream, there could be interactions between the customers, like social interactions of acknowledging others, waiting for your turn, both pragmatically to speak and your turn to order ice cream. The interactors should also consider how they are affected by someone else's interactions. We might have some small talk while waiting in line. We could establish roles, such as two customers being friends, and the third one knowing the vendor. Here's another example of a complex interaction from my asynchronous business English course, taught at a B2 to C1 level. This demo focuses on the positioning phase of a decision-making meeting, with the chairman and 5 C-level attendants with diverging opinions about how the company should proceed. In the demo, the students are expected to demonstrate vocabulary of presenting views on business strategy, indirect presentation of opinion. They should react to opinions of the speaker, which I call primary signals, but also to the reactions of others, which I call secondary signals. All this while showing appropriate behavior in a chaired business meeting. Getting the linguistic terminology right via a plan or a script is its own challenge in a task like this. But the complexity of the task means that a successful performance requires more than just reading your lines. Research suggests that if the complexity level of a task is too low, making it into a group task can reduce the performance of students. The difficulty of coordinating multiple actors in different ways can cause frustration if the task itself looks like it could be completed without the extra hands. Increased complexity creates the need for collaboration. On a technical level, the complexity arises from an interactor needing to consider the effect of their actions on multiple other interactors, and vice versa. Another way to explain it is that we expect students to showcase and acknowledge a socio-cultural context around the linguistic interaction. The idea is to make everyone aware that communication does not stop when you are not speaking. You are important to the situation from the start of the interaction to the end. Communication is not just talking, but acting and reacting in a context. We're all used to acting within the social context of our normal lives with this level of complexity. Adding the same complexity to project demos requires students to consider the interactions from a wider perspective than just saying the right words and pronouncing them correctly. The multiple levels of interactions means that it would easily become overwhelming for an individual student to try to consider how to plan all the required interactions in a task by themselves. However, if the group manages to create a collective work memory through enough transactive actions mentioned earlier in the videos, the complexity becomes manageable. In this sense, complexity makes the group work functionally important as a tool to plan, practice, and perform the required interactions in a demo. On the other hand, during the preparation for demos, when students learn about new communicative concepts they should use, it is better to have low complexity in order to avoid distractions as students acquaint themselves with specific techniques. Let's recap. Linguistic difficulty and complexity can both affect how hard a task can feel for students. Complexity in this course concept comes from aggregating levels of interaction by, for example, having actors in a situation consider multiple other actors and their explicit and implicit intentions. Complex tasks, irrespective of the linguistic difficulty level, require collaboration to execute properly, giving a functional reason for a project to be group work rather than solo work. I wanted to get this video on complexity out before diving deeper into the videos on the preparation and demonstration phases of the course projects, since I will be referring to complexity in those videos. So a short explanation video right now felt like the right move. In the next video, we'll dive into the structure of the preparation phase in the projects. Welcome along. As always, if you would like to be notified when new videos are added to this series, you can subscribe to the channel.